Good morning, Scott Keogh, President and CEO of the Volkswagen Group of America, and frankly, I couldn't have it any better. Here in Austin, Texas, South by Southwest, sunny day, and the coolest can be id.buzz right behind me, so pretty cool start to things.
Hi, I'm Laura Young, environmental scientist and climate activist, and I'm from Scotland. But I really started to think about what does it mean as an individual to be sustainable, play our part. You know, we all know about what's happening around the world, and I really wanted to try and take on that challenge, you know, think about how I could be sustainable with little things, like tiny things, like swapping foods or the way I shop and that sort of thing, but also, you know, much bigger things, you know, really take on the lifestyle stuff. But sustainability, like, what does it mean to you? And I guess personally, but also as a leader of a big brand.
You know, it's similar to you. I think personally it was more of a stumble upon it. I think the way I live my life a little bit, one, I've always been a very big gardener, and my wife is a chef, so we try to the extent possible to eat clean foods, eat everything from the garden. Over time, I've become a very big hiker. And I was in Nepal, I was in Bolivia, and what hit me about going to these places is just you see the absolute devastation of climate change. Yeah. If you look at most of these cities, they're all extremely congested, extremely polluted, people wearing masks, tough to breathe inside the cities. And then, of course, you're seeing all the glaciers disappear. And so that's when, obviously, it hit me in a very big emotional way. And I guess the transition was, I finally said to myself a few years ago to say, wow, I'm in this job with a real opportunity to do something about it. So be able to marry my personal interest and an opportunity to make a difference, like real scale, that's what did it for me. You know, here at Volkswagen, I think, as you know, we're responsible for roughly 1% of all CO2 emissions. We're a big company, and I think big companies need to be big leaders, and that's what I want to do, it's what we want to do.
And I loved hearing a bit about your story there. You know, it's great to hear the thing that got people interested. You know, for you it was seeing a lot of it. The role you're in, if I may say, is one of influence. You know, you've got a lot. How do you see your influence when it comes to moving Volkswagen as a whole towards a more sustainable culture?
You know, the environment's not about politics. Honestly, America is a country of farmers, it's a country of fishermen, it's a country of outdoorsmen and outdoorswomen and adventurers, and that's the story. We have to sustain these places that we eat and that we breathe and that we live. And so I try to depoliticize it and, of course, make the thing very emotional and sustainable. And I think this comes with our employees. It also comes with our dealers. It comes down at our factories. So, yeah, it's quite an opportunity.
Yeah, and we are cruising around in an electric camper van, the id.buzz. Is this part of the future of what you see Volkswagen? Is this part of where you think you're going when it comes to sustainable automobiles?
It is, without a doubt. I think big picture, as you know, Volkswagen's made a massive investment to become CO2 neutral. We've made a massive investment to move basically 100% to electric vehicles over time. So this is, I would say, the single greatest industrial transformation probably in the history of capitalism. So it's quite huge. And I think the reason I specifically love this vehicle is I think a lot of people look at electrification a little bit as almost like a chore. I have to do it, I should do it. And to me, I want electrification to be like, these cars are cool, these cars are fun.
Stylish.
I love these cars.
Stylish. It looks
and so
great.
This thing is just, this thing does it both because obviously it's environmental, it's electric, but on top of that, it just makes you love the brand and puts a smile on your face.
I really want to know a bit more about this vision you have of really taking this brand forward. Often we get like countries and businesses talking about goals, targets, carbon neutrality. What does that actually look like going from A to B for you?
Companies don't operate off of a what, how many cars will we sell, what percentage. They operate off of a why. What's your why? And I think irrefutably what we've gotten the entire company motivated around is our why, of course. We're on this mission for sustainability. And that's the first thing you need, everyone to rally around it. I think the next thing you need is, of course, you do need to address it with the products. And of course, we are a car company, and of course, car company puts products on the road. So the second part is the investments that we've made and the cars we are actively selling. And I'll give you a good example of the risk that comes with doing this. When we were holding the debate with Herbert on the investment in Chattanooga, the electric vehicle market in America was under 1%. You're going to build a factory for a market that's under 1%. And we debated, we went back and forth, a lot of anxious nights. fast forward 4 years later, it's now 5% of the market. Of course, the market is taken off and booming. So you have to take some risk and make some bets. I think the other thing, of course, is the production itself and the operations themselves. And we're doing tremendous things, whether it's natural gas tankers, making sure our trucks do not idle at the ports, make sure they move quickly. And then, of course, the plant itself. And the plant itself is not 100% clean energy yet, but it's about 80% and certainly well on its way. The final piece is the employees, and we gather ideas almost all the time, even ideas like we've taken printers out of our offices, the idea we don't allow water bottles into our offices. Yes, they're trifle in a global scale of things, but it gets the motivation and thought process.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's about changing the culture. Even as individuals, you know, your employees will take that mindset home into their communities, their sphere of influence, and I think that is something that is, you know, so important. I guess one thing I am really aware of is I have an electric car and I got it a few years ago and I had so many questions. I was so uncertain about the move, you know, it was a big move and the infrastructure maybe wasn't set up. But I'm also aware that I'm from a tiny country, Scotland. Distance isn't a big thing where I'm from. What is it like bringing electric cars into America? What's the market like? And what are some of the barriers that you're trying to come across?
Look, I think the biggest thing in America is, yes, it's a gigantic country, but you have to make gigantic problems quite small. The overwhelming majority of Americans live and drive in the suburbs, which means you have a garage, which means you could set up a charger right there. The second thing, of course, is most Americans drive 20 to 30 miles a day. So what you see is people always go to the extreme. What if I hop in my car and I want to drive to Alaska tomorrow? It's like, wow, you've never driven to Alaska before, you don't do it. So I think you have to slice it down. But the thing I'm focused on, and this is what we see, the instant someone can apply it to their lifestyle. So at the dealership level, we have to have these test drives. We have to help them with the chargers in their homes. And once they apply it, there's no looking back.
What is next for you? I guess as Volkswagen, but also personally, like what have you got coming up?
The single biggest thing at Volkswagen is we, of course, are importing the ID.4. This is our #1 selling electric vehicle. We are now localizing that car in Chattanooga. So the early 0 Series cars are coming down the line. We're getting ready for SOP, and it's all going on. And the workers are getting trained, everyone's getting revved up, the world is watching, and we're excited. So that's sort of the #1 thing. For me personally, I think you can see it. The sun is starting to come a little bit. It's March, and that means it's going to get time to get the seeds in the ground, get the herbs going, get the vegetables going. And then I also have a hike planned in Bolivia in June. And I'll get back out and, you know, see what's going on in the world. So I'm looking forward to all those things.
Amazing.
What are your big plans? What are your visions?
Well, I became a lockdown gardener, but I don't think the weather's not great where I'm from. So I think honestly though, for me, my journey with sustainability and environmental stuff has always looked different. You know, some days I'm talking to nursery kids about recycling who know way more than me. Other times I'm speaking to businesses or doing stuff in, you know, government. But I think for me, the big thing this year is just about holding conversations. I find that that's where I just love doing stuff. And so just engaging with people, especially in Scotland, you know, getting people on board. And so this year, I don't know, it's going to be full of surprises, but hopefully more conversations and maybe another ride in one of these at some point.
In Scotland.
Yes.
In Glasgow or Edinburgh. That'd be fantastic.
Oh, well, thank you so much for taking me around and showing me this beautiful, but also, you know, really sustainable car.
I love it. And it's great to have you here in America and great to have you here in Austin. Thanks for coming. Really cool.
Amazing. Should we go?
All right, let's get out of here.